Good night. Yes, good night. Good night. Welcome to your favorite online internet radio program, www.sxmtalk.com. Of course, I'm your host, Christopher Emmanuel. And there was heavy, and deep debate tonight whether we should be broadcasting or not, seeing that we have a lot of Miami Heat fans around. And they all were saying, Chris, we can't log on tonight. But even if I want to, I will be back and forth from the TV to the computer, from the TV to the computer, because they so want to see this game. Well, for me, I'm an OKC fan. Yeah. I just love that boy Westbrook and Durant. I just like them. I like their athleticism. I like their youth. I like their energy. But I think Miami's a bit more experienced for them. But they're a young team and we don't give them some time. But I'm here tonight. But we're gonna make it a short program tonight because I got my fingers crossed that Oklahoma City is gonna pull it out tonight, take it back to Oklahoma, and then we're gonna force them for game 7. So I want to see the game tonight, but I couldn't stay away. I say I have to meet my crowd, my audience, and touch them and talk with them tonight. And what I decided to do tonight is give a rating on the new coalition that we have, the new governing individuals around, the ministers, the members of parliament, those that wield the power in St. Martin right now, the 15 members of parliament, the 7 ministers. How are they doing? How are they faring? Some would say that we got to give them some more time, Chris. You're on their case too fast. They just started. They're now getting to mingling and know the ins and outs of things. Yes, however, they are not spring chickens. They are not fresh ones to this whole system. Slightly for the Minister of Education, she's coming in with some top ratings right now. So call a friend, call someone, tell them log on to www.sxmtalk.com. So I'm shouting out to everyone, good night. Welcome to the program. We're going to have a short program tonight. I'm going to try end at 9 o'clock or 9:15 because I really want to get, well, I'm not so much eager with the first quarter of the game. So let's see, depending on how the program goes along, we'll see how we'll touch it up. Like I said, the topic is eye on the new coalition, rating the ministers and the members of parliament. Before we go to the minute, I'm going to take it from back to front. So I'm going to take it from the members of parliament, and then we're going to go over to the ministers. Now, it is quite difficult to rate the members of parliament. It's quite difficult to rate the legislators because they all sit in the same chamber and they debate issues going on in the country. We have a governing side, we have an opposition side. And we look at them and we see that they're all equal. But it's a bit difficult to rate them because it's not as if they have a specific job to do in terms of executing. They are the ones who set policies and set laws. Legislators, that's what they're called. But there's a few individuals that surfaces more than the other. You hear from them a bit more, not much, just a little bit more than others. So I'm going to start from the top. I'm going to start from the top, come down. And who is the top? Of course, the top is the President of Parliament, the Chair Lady of Parliament, Dr. Anders Gracita Arundel. And let me be the first to say that her term in government as chairperson of Parliament, she has done an abysmal job. She has failed at her post miserably. Besides taking pictures and traveling, there is nothing I can say that I'm pleased in the manner in which the President of Parliament, the Chair Lady of Parliament, has done her job. And I'm not being biased. It's the truth. I can't put my finger on anything good or anything that is, it is difficult because the criticism is so wide. She has been criticized so much. And you see it in the way she functions. And I'm not making excuses and I'm not apologizing for what I'm saying, but she has done a horrible job. And because of that, in my books, in my rating, from 1 to 10, there's no 0. From 1 to 10, 5 being not even satisfactory but borderline, the Chair Lady of Parliament came in with a 0. But because there's no 0, she got a 1. And she got a 1 because here is a woman that brought a new ray of light to St. Martin politics. She brought a fresh breath of air. She brought a sigh of relief. She brought something new. When I was part of the PPA, it was called The Change. And there was a certain group in the society that felt we have an alternative. We have someone that speaks different. Someone that looks different. Someone that's pointing out the issues. Someone that is criticizing the thing that is wrong. And then I believe she let that whole contingent down, that whole group that believed in her. This is a woman that once had 400 votes, then went to 1,100 votes, then had 900 votes, and has reduced to 300 and something votes. Because she let her people down. And it has carried over in her functioning of Parliament. The same individual that you criticize so much. You coined the term commissioners using government-owned companies to fund their pet projects. That came from you. So there's nothing more I can say in terms of this is good, because you haven't done anything good since you're there at the chair as Parliament. So in my books, on a scale from 1 to 10, Dr. Anders Gracita Arundel, you got a 1. You got a 1. Now we're going to move over. We're going to move over to the smaller coalition partners, which are the Democratic Party. And in the Democratic Party, we have Member of Parliament Leroy DeWeaver, Member of Parliament Roy Marlin. Now, I have to, let me start with a rating first and then give the reason why I'm rating them on the level that I'm rating them. I am giving Roy Marlin a 7. Yes, many people would open their eyes and say, what? A 7? Yes. And I'm going to tell you why I'm giving him a 7. I'm giving him a 7 not because of what he said or have done in Parliament. I'm giving him a 7 based on a conversation the Member of Parliament and my person had. And I didn't believe. Okay, let me say I didn't believe. I held him to his words. And it had to do with his business. The petrol station in Belvedere, by the roundabout. What am I talking about? His employment, the individuals working for him. And I held him to his word that, yes, you're going to be the same, hiring a number of foreign this and foreign and illegal this. And he said, no way, never. Only St. Martiners and Antillians. And I didn't believe him. I didn't want to take his word because, you know, they haven't done well being trustworthy in the past. But I must say, today the Member of Parliament, Roy Marlin, has about 7 to 9 employees under him that he is responsible for, that he is putting bread and food on the table, that he is given a salary. And as much as we criticize the deals and however the petrol station come and how they're enriching themselves and stuff like that, these individuals have gainful employment. And because of that, and because one day he said, did you come down and see my employees? And I said no. And when I went, I met the individuals, and they're all St. Martiners and Antillians. And based only on that, I give the Member of Parliament a 7. And we all would say that a 7 is a pass. But when it comes to his discussions and his debate in Parliament, I was very disappointed with him on the debate when he decided, don't bite the hand that feeds you. Making it sound as if the Democratic Party is the one that has people living today. But I give him a 7 only and solely based on a conversation relating to his business. Because I say it's a bit difficult to judge members of Parliament. Now let's go to Leroy DeWeaver. I am not too familiar with a member of Parliament style of politics. I can't put my thumb on it as yet. So I'm going to judge the Member of Parliament based on his debating skills and the things he said in Parliament. And I'm judging him on Emilio Wilson, his stance, and on the Mullet Bay Pond, the Mullet Bay Lagoon, where he voted down 2 motions and saying that he don't mind anything being done in Emilio Wilson because Emilio Wilson reminds him of slavery. And Mullet Bay Pond, he's not going to vote on it because he don't want to stop potential investors from developing. So because of that, and only because of that, and also, no, let's come back some more. And also during the campaign, he said over his dead body, would he be sitting in the new expensive Parliament building? So we are holding you to your words because you're not dead and you're in the Parliament building today. So because of that, I'm giving the Member of Parliament, Leroy DeWeaver, a 4. Now, let's move over to the second largest coalition partners, which is the United People's Party, the UP Party. And we have Member of Parliament Yanchi Leonard. And Yanchi Leonard, I must say, I'm not even going to discuss much about him. I'm not even going to discuss much about him. But you got a 2. You got a 2 for simply just being a Member of Parliament. That's all. Because your famous words is for taken. Only know that you're in opposition, you had a barrage of questions for the Minister of Finance. Because they wrote it out and they give it to you, and because of that, you have failed miserably. Ruth Douglas, it is so funny, the Member of Parliament, I don't even know what to rate her as. I don't know what number to give her. because sometimes you forget that she's a member of parliament. So because of that, she's still on a trial period. There's no number I can give. I can't put a figure on it. It definitely can't pass 5. But you just don't know, because one is too low and the others is just a bit too high. So maybe a 1.5. You don't know how to rate the member. And then we got Jules James, and surprisingly, I know many of you guys are going to frown on this figure. Okay? Surprisingly, you're going to frown on this figure. But yes, I give Jules James a 6. I give Jules James a 6 because he has made himself to be the most popular and hated member of parliament. But he's always involved in whatever is going on in parliament. You're going to always hear from him in a debate. He's always going to stand his ground. He's going to make his point heard. He's out in the newspaper. Besides the Pelican issue, Jules James is one of the most vocal members of parliament. And solely because of that, he have a 6. He have a 6 because he's always there at every meeting. And he always has an opinion. So because of that, he has a 6. But I believe he's one of the most hated members of parliament right now. And when I say hated, I mean disliked. So yeah, interestingly enough, his number is pretty high, a 6. And we also have the member of parliament, Mrs. Myers. Now, there is something about Mrs. Myers that I know. And I know it because I work in the parliament building. And I know you guys is going to question the number that I'm giving her. She doesn't speak much in parliament, but I'm giving her a 7. And let me explain why she's getting a 7. There's something in parliament called closed-door committees. And a closed-door committee is when the public and even us as the workers there for the factions are not allowed to be in the tribune. We are not allowed to sit in the tribune when those meetings are going on. However, when the president of parliament chairs those meetings, no one could comes in. She's like a smock. You know? But when Sylvia Myers, the member of parliament, Sylvia Myers, chairs those meetings, one time there was a meeting when she chaired it, and she did something surprisingly. And you see, the public don't see these things. Yes, okay, I'm not going to come here and be biased because she's a member of parliament representing the up faction. I must just give them all a failing grade. No. This is how I feel, honestly. I'm giving her a 7 because she did something in one of those meetings. Yes, it was a closed-door committee, central committee meeting that she was the chairperson of. And she said to me, and she said to the others, she said, this is a very interesting topic that you guys should hear, that you guys should be part of, because you can learn from this central committee meeting. So I think you should come and sit inside. She didn't have to do that. Normally those proceedings are closed. You're not allowed to go in. You can't even hear. You can see, but you can't hear what is going on. And she went out of the way to look for me and ask that I sit in the meeting, because as a worker for one of the factions, she felt that the discussion what was going on was informative and educational for your growth in parliamentary proceedings. So she said, come and listen. And for that, I'm giving the Member of Parliament, Sylvia Myers, a 7, because she crossed the line in terms of there was no colors. We all was welcome to come and sit, whether you represented the Democratic Party, whether you represented the UP, whether you represented the National Alliance. She said, come and listen, come and sit. And that was very, very good, I felt. And because of that, she got a 7. So, let us review the independent members of Parliament. We have Member of Parliament Franz Richardson. Now, I have a personal and a good relationship with Member of Parliament Franz Richardson, and I believe genuinely he means well. He's the Member of Parliament that gets the most visitors every day. Is it because he's generous? Is it because he's charitable? Is it because they see him as one that gives a lot of money or advice or whatever it is? Whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. My personal opinion, it is ingrained in our culture. It has become part of our political culture. But I think it's a dangerous trend. I think it's a troubling trend. But when you listen, when you question the Member of Parliament, when you listen to the Member of Parliament, he genuinely means well, and he will tell you that people are suffering and they need help. And if I am in a position to help them, that is what I'm going to do. And because of that, I give the Member of Parliament, I have to give him a relatively good score. I give him a 7.5. I give him a 7.5 because I don't like the trend. And in some point in time, it should be halted. It should be stopped. But the Member of Parliament believes that people needs help. I would even go as much as say he gets an 8, because he goes and he bends over backwards to help people. He doesn't run away. You can always get to speak to him. So I would take back the 7.5 and I would give him an 8. Independent member Patrick Illage. Now, Patrick Illage is very hard for me to put a rating on the Member of Parliament. It's very hard because I can't put my finger on the pulse of his stance. You know, I don't know. I don't know where he's at. I don't know where he's at. You see? But I'm giving him a 6. I'm giving him a 6 because he did something similar to what Member of Parliament Sylvia Myers did with all of us, but he did it with me only. He called me and he said, Chris, this is a closed door session. The chair lady wouldn't allow you to come in, but I am telling you to come in because I want you in on this. I want you to be part of this. And it was a discussion that was going on. And to tell you the truth, I was shocked because we have had our differences and we haven't spoken to each other for a very long time, and we was very cold with each other. It is smoothing over a bit now, but we still have our differences. We still would talk a bit more than we used to before. I don't agree with everything he does in terms of his position and his stance. But I give him a 6. Now, our youngest member of parliament, Romain Laville, I know him very well. We went to the Mac school, went to academy together, went to school together. I was always a few grades higher. And he was one of the folks who would come on the radio program in the backyard with Kendall and myself and Zuluma and stuff like that, and Renee. And we would have good discussions and good talks. I'm going to say this. Because of inexperience, because he's a new kid on the block, because I think he redeemed himself a bit, and he was troubled with his choice. I have criticized him very much, very hard, and I still do up to this day, because I still need to see if he means well. I don't believe it 100% as yet. I'm trifling between a 50 and a 55% in terms of his being genuine. So there's a lot of 7s flying around. But I'm giving him a 6. Because I believe he have a lot of growing. I believe that he makes some silly and ridiculous mistakes. I understand his reasons for doing what he does, and sometimes I don't. And as a member of parliament, you got to choose your words correctly. Say what you mean and mean what you say. Jules James is not one of my favorable members of parliament. But as members of parliament, we need to elevate our level of doing things and set an example. And the shooting incident was a no-no. And he apologized. But it shouldn't reach to that. So because of that, on those grounds, he got a 6 from me. All right? Now, let's go to the members of parliament of the National Alliance, my political party. And we're going to start with the now faction leader, who is the member of parliament, George Pantaflet. And I have to score George Pantaflet pretty high. And I'm scoring him high because he's one of the members of parliament that is always in the newspaper, that is always asking questions, that always wants to know what is happening with this. He's one of the members of parliament that is always questioning policies. So because of that, he has an 8. He has an 8. He's a member of parliament that wants things to be done and believe that things should get done. So he have an 8. Member of Parliament Louis Laveille is a tricky individual for me to score, because you see, the thing is this, right? Louis Laveille is like Romain Laville to me. For them to see the light, for them to have a sense of redemption, they had to get hurt first. Because you have to judge and grade someone on their past, the present. And Louis Laveille has been a member of the Democratic Party and has criticized a lot of things that he now stands for. However, he redeemed himself when he handed the government a fall when the Democratic Party went into opposition. I believe he's one of the most charismatic and the thing with Louis LaVey, he got. I'll tell you this, and it may sound a bit laughable, but when you listen to Louis LaVey's talk, when you listen to the passion that he puts into his speeches and his delivery, I'm seriously giving him a 7.5. Because as much as I don't want to be convinced about his delivery and what he means, he does convince me sometimes. He's just good at that. Member of Parliament Dr. Lloyd Richardson is also getting an 8 from me. And he's getting an 8 from me because I was in some meetings with him as the only member of parliament, talking to some people, talking to some workers. And I believed everything he said he was going to do, and he delivered on everything that he said he was going to do. And because of that, he has an 8 in my book. The now member of parliament, Rudolph Samuel, can be graded. Even if I want to put a grade on his past, I'm not going to do it. So he's blank. Who are we missing? Hyacinth Richardson. Yes. Now, I can imagine many of you guys out there probably saying, a 3, a 2, a 1. But you know what? Because I know the individual, right? Are you going to say Christopher is a hypocrite? He's a hypocrite. You're being bad. No. You guys wouldn't believe this. Right? You wouldn't believe this. Right? But Hyacinth Richardson, out of all the members of parliament, is getting the highest grade. Okay? Now somebody now, the engineer here say, because he's my boss and I want my job. Actually, he's not my boss. My boss today is Member of Parliament George Pantaflet. It was Member of Parliament William Mann, and now it's George Pantaflet. The faction leader is the boss over the faction. But you see, there is something about Hyacinth Richardson that I know and that many of you guys don't know. Right? And this is it. There is no funeral on St. Martin that Member of Parliament Hyacinth Richardson doesn't go to. Okay? There's no house on St. Martin that Member of Parliament Hyacinth Richardson don't visit just for visiting. And out of all the members of parliament, Hyacinth Richardson is the only member of parliament every day would call and ask, Chris, how is things going? What is going on in parliament? What are you thinking? What is going on in government? What are you hearing out on the street? What's the buzz? What's the word? What should we talk about? What do you want me to mention in parliament? What it is you want me to say? He's the only member of parliament that sits with everyone out in the hang, in the lobby, and ask them what is going on, what is happening. People would say, yeah, because he don't show up to meetings. He doesn't say nothing much. But I'm giving him a 9. And if I'm going to be called a hypocrite because of that, then yes. But he deserved that 9. Hyacinth Richardson. In the studio here, everybody's laughing. They holding their head and they say, nah, man, Christopher, you can't be serious. Yes. I'm very much serious. I'm very serious. He has a 9. So I believe that's it for all the members of parliament. I didn't miss anyone. You see? There was 2 that I couldn't put a number on, which is Dr. Ruth Douglas from the UP party and Rudolph Samuel, who is now member of parliament. Can be rated. Let's go to the ministers. And we're going to start with the head, which is the prime minister. Right? And whether Democratic Party or not, I, Christopher Emmanuel, like the prime minister. And I'd like her as Sarah Westcott Williams, leader of the Democratic Party. But her rating is not too high. Because I believe that the Democratic Party have a lot to answer to in this country. So she has a 6. We're going to go to the Deputy Prime Minister. Or should we take it with ministers for the coalitions that they represent? Okay, good. We'll take it for we'll take the ministers for the coalition that they represent. I can't call him a doctor because I don't know if he is, really. The media says it, Dr. Cornelius DeWeaver, but I don't know. I don't know what he's a doctor of or a doctor in. So I'm going to say Minister Cornelius DeWeaver. I have a problem with the minister. And the problem I have with the ministers is traveling spree. He's always traveling. And I believe that there's a lot of his portfolios that are troubling, especially the understand situation, the labor situation. So his rating is not too high. He has a 5. It's not too high at all because I believe there is a lot of improvement that needs to be done. The minister needs to seriously do some work. So he has a 5. We're going to take the justice minister. Now, I can't give the justice minister a high rating at all. He got a 2. And the justice minister have a 2 because all of his portfolios, and it's a very troubling, hard, and difficult task as a justice minister. But the Coast Guards have an issue with a justice minister. The immigration has an issue with a justice minister. The prison has issues with a justice minister. Police have issue with a justice minister. And his maverick, loose cannon attitude, I have some issues with that. I can't give him nothing more than a 3. Yeah. Remember Minister Romeo Pantaflet. I don't know the gentleman that well. So I'm grading him solely based on his time there. How long is the government there? 21 days, a month now? And I'm not feeling him. I'm not feeling him. He hasn't taken the ball and ran with it. And we're talking about economic affairs and tourism and harbor and airport. You know? What's going on with the cartel at the harbor? Telecommunications. His rating is not too high. He also has a 5. Now, here's the opposite. The finance minister have a very high rating because he's on the ball. He's on the money. He's taking the bull by the horn and he's pulling it and dragging it. He has a 9 because he's telling us things. Taxan. The CFT. Money is not being allocated here, not in the budget. Turnover tax is not going to go up. He's going to reduce some taxes in some areas or alleviate certain things so people can have more spending money. Now, that is the kind of minister that is working for the country. That's what we are talking about. So he has a 9. Now, my favorite minister is Minister of Education. Okay, and for now, I gotta give her a 10. Okay? But because I don't like giving 10s, I find a 10 is something that you got to really strive and work to. But if you're good, you're good. But she getting a 9 point something. I know what a point something is. But you have a 9 point something, minister, because I am still seeing a bumpy road ahead. But I like your stance on the teachers who want to be released and their work permits and stuff like that. And your stance was no teacher should be sent home. The teacher summit. I mean, here we have a minister that is saying to teachers, listen, let us come together. What it was, I forgot the pamphlet. Let's turn troubling times into stepping stones. Brilliant. She wants to dialogue with teachers. And what I liked with her stance is when she said, no. We don't want to meet with the principals and management and the school boards as yet. No. What you would get is everyone meeting with the management and the school boards first. No. The minister said, teachers, come, let's talk. Let's reason with each other. Let's workshop. Brilliant. Thumbs up. Like I said last night. When you're doing good, Christopher is going to say, you're doing good. When you're doing bad, when you're doing wrong, I'm going to say, you're doing bad and you're doing wrong. You can hold me to those words, people. She's my favorite minister. So it's a 9 point something. Now I know everybody's waiting to see the big kahuna. The number going through at him. They said, the faces in the studio is smiling. Everybody's like, yeah. They're eager to hear the number. Minister and Deputy Prime Minister William Allen. I am still trying to put my hand on what you're doing with your portfolios. Deputy Prime Minister, Minister of Environmental Affairs, Minister of Housing, etc., etc. It's like I gotta throw you in a scale with Dr. Ruth Douglas and Rudolph Samuel, where I can't grade you. I can't grade you because I feel like you got things up your sleeves coming. But yet I still feel as if you're holding back some things. I am troubled with the causeway. We're not hearing nothing from you concerning the causeway. Is it going to be stopped? Are you looking into it? What about the permits? When you was in the opposition benches, it was illegal, it was wrong, it should be stopped, it's not good. Now you're governing. But because I want to be fair on this program, I'm giving you a shaky 7. They're laughing. They're laughing at me in the studio. They say a 1. I think they want to really get me fired. No, but I'm giving you a 7. A shaky 7 at that, because it more leaning to drop to a 6 than to go up to an 8, because I still want to. You see, like how the Minister of Finances is moving through. The Minister of Education is moving. I'm not getting that from the Deputy Prime Minister. So that's where you're at a 7. And that's my rating, St. Martin. We are expecting much more from this new coalition. From the, what is it? Coalition of Good Governance, working for the people of St. Martin, whatever they call themselves. We want to see more. Parliament is going to be closed in a couple of weeks. And then they're going to reconvene in September. You see? People are expecting more out of this government. And you guys need to deliver. You need to deliver because the country is still hurting from the disaster and the dictatorial and the manipulative government that the UP was part of. I just got a message saying that if I knew they sent home 15 workers from Telem yesterday. No, I didn't. I didn't know about it. And these are the things that I'm talking about, because the shareholder rep for Telem is the Prime Minister. The minister responsible for telecommunications and stuff like that is the Minister Romeo Pantoflet. And these are the things that I'm talking about. That's why their ratings are low. You see? They are saying that things are very emotional right now at Telem. Very emotional, very demoralizing. A lot of layoffs. This is the reason why I'm saying to these ministers, you have no time for your tail to be on a plane traveling here and there. Stay focused. You guys need to be here and solving the problems. These are the things that are going on. I have been talking about Tell Him here now for a good few couple of weeks. But there's only so much I can do. We have about a couple of minutes left in the program. I need to say this though. I know how it is not to work, not to have a salary. I was in that position for about 7 years. For about 7 years, I was in a similar position. So I know what security means. But I've also managed and learned to live without that salary. But some point in time, all you workers of Telem, all you workers of Pelican, all you workers at Maho, all you workers at the police station, all you workers at the immigration, all you workers at the Coast Guard, it is not an isolated situation. It's a labor situation. It's a human right situation. The right to be employed and be able to feed and secure your families. And when there's individuals and governments taking that away from you, taking that right away from you, you have a right. St. Augustine said an unjust law is no law at all. So you have a right to civil disobedience. You have that right. And I say it here all the time. Get yourselves together. And if you have to shut this island down for the powers to be, to understand what is going on, then do it. Then so be it. But you can't want to stay back and say, boy, I don't want him this, and boy, they know this, and boy, nothing is going to happen. So I understand the emotional aspect I tell him. I understand the low morale, because it's going to trickle down and affect also the general public. But what do you intend to do? This is not time to, I want to do things through the channels. If you have to ruffle and shake the feathers, then do it. Because whilst you're the one being sent home with a package that's going to last 2 and 3 months, they are the ones making the big salary on scale 17 and 19. The 2 lakh or the 25%, the 15% extra. The free cars and the free telephones, the free internet, the perks and privileges from being in managerial positions. What do you have? Samaritan people, take care of yourself. God bless each and every one of you. Good night.